And welcome once again to the Rowdy.com, SceneDaily.com, NASCAR Illustrated.
Hey, thanks for the plug.
You're welcome. Top 20 driver review from the season preview edition of NASCAR Illustrated. I'm here with NASCAR Illustrated's Chris Johnson to talk about Clint Bowyer, who I believe, Chris, we put at number 8.
Number 8
in the order here. Now, talk to me a little bit about what Clint can achieve this year. Obviously, RCR bounced back big time in 2010 from a subpar 2009.
Yeah, there's kind of been an up and down scenario with that organization, and a colleague of mine, Jeff Owens, pointed this out. It goes back actually further than 2009, but I like Clint's chances. I look at him last year as finishing 5th in the points, because that's where he would have finished without that 150-point penalty from the New Hampshire win. RC put a little pressure on all his guys recently when he said this is their year to knock Jimmy Johnson off the throne. But I think Clint, he'll certainly make the chase again, in my estimation. And I like him to finish about 5th.
Yeah, he does very well in the chase when he makes it. I think his first time in the chase, he ended up 3rd, I believe, or 4th. And last year he was 5th.
Yeah.
And last year in the chase, he won a couple races. They didn't take the win away from him at New Hampshire, so he gets to keep that. And he ran 2nd, I believe it was California. So he has performed pretty well in the chase over his career.
And he won at Talladega in that thrilling finish with his teammate, Kevin Harvick, when we weren't sure who won that race, and it was Bowyer. So I like what they're doing. The one thing that we focused on in the preview issue here was he needs to qualify a little bit better. His average start last year was 14.9, and that's not great, but that was the best of his career so far. And he's been in the Series 5 full-time years. So if he can step that up a little bit, you know, make the adjustments as the races go along throughout the course of a long season, he'll be right there.
Now, I think about Clint as kind of a good guy on the shorter tracks, you know, the Richmonds, the Loudons, maybe the Phoenix type racetrack. But obviously, Richard Childress Racing, a lot of their success last year was the fact they'd really improved their downforce program. So how can we expect Clint to perform on some of this downforce stuff?
Well, I mean, that'll be interesting. I think when I look at RCR last year, the thing that stands out to me is what Kevin Harvick did on the plate tracks. I mean, he just killed it on the plate tracks, and that's Clint's measuring stick. Regardless of the circuit, I think he's got to chase Harvick. He's got to keep that carrot in front of him, and I think he'll certainly do that in 2011. Whether he can equal Harvick in this year, I don't know about that, but I think they'll be close. I think they're the only 2 RCR drivers that make the chase.
Yeah, Bowyer seems like an underrated guy to me, a guy that, you know, every time we come to the chase, he's not a guy you would pick to win the championship, but he's a guy that comes out and wins the first race. He's done that a couple times. Yeah,
and he's one of those guys where he seems to be like always on the outside looking in just barely as we get into chase contention time, where we've got a few races left. Like, he's not always locked in, but he's got a good chance. So I think this year he'll actually find a way to solidify that and be in before, you know, especially with the new rules in place. He'll be a solid contender.
Now, talk to me about his attitude. He seems like a pretty fun-loving guy. It was very uncharacteristic for him last season at Dover after the penalty, and he was really angry and really frustrated. Almost felt like he still hasn't gotten over that in a certain way. But talk to me about Clint's attitude. He just seems like he's a pretty fun-loving dude.
I think that when you look back last year, the specter of that penalty still kind of hangs over that team. I mean, they can say it's behind them, but it's hard to take that kind of a hit with 150 points and realize what your season could have been. But he is a pretty easygoing guy, and you know, I loved his comment recently where he said, "I can't use the young and dumb excuse anymore," because he's 31 years old now. So I think he doesn't take himself too seriously, and last year he was miffed, obviously, with the penalty, but I think he's a pretty mellow dude, and I think that benefits him when he's in the car.
That's great. That's our look at Clint Bowyer, number 9 on the NASCAR Illustrated preseason rankings of your drivers. Don't forget to pick it up at newsstand. You might even read an article by Chris Johnson in there.
You might. You never
Pretty
know.
good article, too.
You never know.
All right, we'll be back in a bit to talk about some other guy.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.